One of the reasons there have been so many racial justice projects in Cleveland is our organizing history. A lot of the actions that they did in the 60s and 70s were powerful, but they didn't really move the needle in a lot of the ways that people had hoped. And I think many folks just became a little disenchanted. But after seeing so many incidences occur time and time again with people not being held accountable, people had had enough and decided that it was time to try again. After the Tamir Rice shooting, there was a huge increase in activism and people who were really fed up. They're all people who were determined that they couldn't do nothing and that they were going to use their skill sets to make something beautiful happen in the city.
We're asked to do a mural project on a bridge, and that bridge separates downtown Cleveland from the central neighborhood. And what that looked like was having conversations about race, racism, privilege, segregation, while co-creating a mural with people who lived and worked on both sides of a bridge that divided the two neighborhoods.
The act of creating something is healing in itself. It is awfully hard to be mad at somebody painting.
The northern half is downtown Cleveland, which recently has been a boom in development. And then below the highway is the central neighborhood. It used to be a very diverse community, and over the years, white flight has contributed to being a predominantly Black community. And so we know that both of those existed, and we wanted to find a way to point out that a highway was purposely put in between those two communities, dividing them both socially and physically.
So you do a collective piece, and it shows in a small slide under the microscope what can be done on a larger scale.
Through work with ioby and a collaboration with the Neighborhood Housing Service, ATNSC was able to do a fundraiser to renovate a vacant property in my neighborhood of Buckeye. This idea of turning a vacant home into basically an urban retreat space where neighbors can walk to learn in an intimate salon-style environment, to meet and be neighbors with an artist who is having their residency in the space, instead of well-meaning people coming to my neighborhood to do a feel-good project. The conversation and the work can come from where you live.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
On January 20th, 2017, we hosted a designers protest design cipher in Cleveland, Ohio. And the intent of this was to bring together community activists, artists, designers, architects, planners to share their thoughts and their concerns about what a new administration meant through the lens of design and architecture. Poverty, access to capital, youth engagement, affordable housing, addressing homelessness, all of these things were the things that the participants were thinking about. Cleveland is growing now, and there's a lot of development going on in downtown Cleveland and the near West Side neighborhoods, but it's not proportionally being developed on the East Side neighborhoods. As an organizer, it makes me really proud and happy to see a group that's committed to making change and coming up with a new creative solution that could change the landscape of Cleveland.
There is media that is passive and destructive. I want to do work that is passive yet constructive. So we are working on a docu-series called The X's and O's of Race/Ism. And we're intending it to be a 5-part series where we look at the concept of race and racism through the lenses of African American, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, white Americans, and then on the 5th installment, we really want to focus on a celebration of multiculturalism and diversity. I am a product of Cleveland. My education and my intellect and my creativity were forged in this city. And so I think there are a ton of us who return, and we're determined to make a contribution to move this city forward.